G'day mates, today we're looking at the edging attachment for my Makita Powerhead. I've been on the fence for a while now as to whether I need one or not, so I'm keen to see what benefits I'll get over just using the line trimmer. There's the 17mm socket and blade, which I thought would have an edge or something on it to cut the grass, but nope, it's literally a rectangular piece of 5mm thick steel. Like the line trimmer, it's a reverse thread to undo the nut, then we simply install the blade and retighten it, so there's not much to it for assembly. There's a wing nut on the wheel adjustment, and the manual suggests setting the height so it cuts 10mm into the soil. First run, and we'll see what result we get with a line trimmer on my Zoysia Matrella, which is about 75mm or 2.9 inches in height. Firing up the edger, and you can see it launches out quite a bit of turf on the medium speed. And even with this small amount of edging, I had a fair bit of grass by the end of it. Comparing the line trimmer to the edger, and there's certainly a nicer edge with a very defined gap between the timber and the grass. We can cut in with the line trimmer to give a similar result, but it takes a lot more time trying to dig the grass out than what I spent running the edger along it. Out the front I have carpet grass, which as you can see sends out runners rather than growing vertically like the Zoysia. Edging this can be an arduous task with the line trimmer as it gets quite thick over the gutter and you spend a lot of time trying to dig an edge. As you can see with the edger, it's very little effort to cut through these runners and you don't waste any time trying to push the grass off the top of the gutter. The driveway was quite overgrown and this is where the edger is really in its element, easily cutting through the runners and soil to create a nice straight edge. One thing I did notice is when the runners grow right on the edge, you have to make sure to really get the blade in against the concrete, otherwise you'll get left with a few extra bits at the end. This gutter down the road was a great mozzie pit, but using the edger easily cuts through the soil to create that clean edge. This would have been impossible with the line trimmer and you'd have been cutting your edge out with the shovel. So I did notice that it will cut into my timber edging if you're not being too careful. But at $279 just for easier edging, it made me wonder, what else can it do? Can you use it to trim the garden beds as well? Can you use it to trim small branches? Can you use it as a hedge trimmer? Can you use it as a scarifier? Can you use it as a brush cutter? But in all seriousness, what don't I like? It's pretty heavy at 2.5 kilos or 5.5 pounds, but I suppose the other side of that coin is that it's nicely planted when you're running it along an edge. I had hoped I could edge around my curved garden bed, but a 270mm or 10.6 inch long blade means you end up getting a squared off section in your lawn. At $200 it is expensive, costing more than some other complete units, while this is just an attachment. But those other units have plastic housings and certainly aren't built to the same quality. The rubber guard also catches if you're trying to run back into your corner. I found that easing the edger in half throttle and standing on the right hand side of it rather than the left like I typically do makes it much easier to use. But what do I like and do you need one? It does make edging faster and easier. Would I say it's necessary to have one or that it does a significantly better job? Not really. But if you're self-employed and time is money, I get all my edges done in 9 minutes and 45 seconds with the line trimmer, and it only takes me 6 minutes and 45 seconds with the edger. So that's a 44% improvement, and the edges are nearly perfect with little effort. In the end, I would say, if you edge and mow pretty much every weekend, especially in the growing season, you're probably just making your life a little easier by using this over a line trimmer. You can certainly get excellent results using a line trimmer for a bit more time and effort. But on the flip side, this definitely won't happen with an edger. Thanks heaps for watching. Let me know if you're on the fence about getting one or if there's something I missed, as I'll now be working on my 36 vs 40 volt power heads, so I'll be able to do some more testing in there. Cheers for sticking around, and if you do want to hit subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Cheers. Cool your jets. Calm down about your garden.
You're a real wanker.
I think it looks good.
It doesn't look good.
Clean.